So one of the things you need to do before you even make it hire, there's a lot of pre-work that has to happen before you can make a great hire. This is whether it's a diverse hire or any hire. So these are general practices that will allow you to do this. I'm going to specifically target diversity and things that a hiring manager can do in that process. One of the things that you do is start with the end in mind. As a manager, you know that you're trying to increase the number of women or underrepresented minorities in your organization. Be intentional and be thoughtful so that when you find that talent, you know what you found. So being intentional, taking steps to do some of the things we talked about before, but just that mindset shift will help you as a manager as you're partnering with the recruiting team. Really get to know the talent before you ever know about the opportunity. This one's a big deal because you should always be recruiting and getting to know people. We talk about building relationships, but you want to know who that talent is before you ever know about a job opening or a job position. And you want to have already built some relationships. So one of the things that you could do as a manager and as any employee is to build relationships with diverse employees in your company. Did you have lunch with someone? Is there somebody in your company that you walk past every day and really never have a chance to talk to or say hello to? Just getting to know that talent will make a difference, and getting to know that person, one, makes a difference with the relationship, but two, it starts to build that trust. And if your company has what are called employee resource groups, or sometimes you'll see hear them called affinity groups, or some organizations call them business resource groups. These are groups that have diverse talent from a wide range of demographics, perspectives, orientations. Getting to know the people in those ERGs. I mean, sometimes we look at the ERG and it's just this block, this group, but getting to know the people is the key to being able to build those relationships, to get ideas about how you reach talent, to get ideas about what you do when you bring someone on board. Those are great resources that a lot of times companies don't take advantage of as much as they should.
Cody, question for you is, how do you get involved with those groups? I mean, you attend lunches, meetings? Can you give a little more example there?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Jeff. Some of the organizations that have employee resource groups are organizations that have a full-time diversity and inclusion leader. And that person helps stand up those ERGs, or they may have already existed. Most of the time, companies publish those groups within their internal company. Sometimes you can find those organizations on the external website. Companies always talk about the groups that they have, the resource groups that they have. If your company doesn't have those people, then you may want to engage a company that may have groups like that and just pick their brains around how they set that up, how they got started. Normally, when an employee starts, they get information on those ERGs and what exists. And just because an ERG, let's take one, it may be Blacks in technology or women in technology or whatever the group is. Here's the key that a lot of people forget. You don't actually have to be a member of that demographic to join that ERE or to become a champion or an ally for that ERG and a partner for that ERG. I think the biggest thing is to get engaged with those ERGs and to leverage the people and the relationships in the ERG, because that's going to give you a connection to the communities that you're trying to reach. So one of the biggest thing as a manager that you could do is provide the budget and the resources. Most managers have a budget that they're managing, have a budget that they're allowed to do the things they want to do and to plan for, and they have people on their teams. Making sure that you're thoughtful and intentional about how you allocate that budget is something only the leadership can do. Unless you're passing budget down to someone on your team, as the leader, you're in the unique position to be able to help make decisions. Now, you certainly have to make the business case for why you're going to get involved with an organization or while you're going to spend those dollars on something and be a good steward of the company's money. But well-placed budget can have a big impact, and it doesn't have to be a lot of money, because there are lots of organizations out there that want to partner and they just don't have the resources. The other thing is to give people time to do some of the things that you're trying to accomplish as a leader. And that's always a trade-off with, oh, we have to get our job done, we have to deliver what we're goaled for, but we also need to make sure that we're giving our team the time and not requiring them to add extra hours to participate in a diversity and inclusion event or organization. One of the simplest things to do as a leader and as a manager is host events. You don't have to have the biggest organization to have a coffee day or to have an open house where you're sharing information about your company. Lots of companies are doing this, but a lot of times I think companies think, oh, if I don't have the big brand, no one's going to want to come. Well, if you engage your ERGs, engage your employee base, and just put the word out, hey, we're hosting an event where we want to get to know people in this community. And it doesn't always have to be at your facility. You can do it at another facility, or you can go to the organization's facility and host this event. So that's another way that a hiring manager can have a significant impact in the diversity and inclusion recruiting effort. And one of the things that's, if you're in engineering, getting good at meeting people. All you have to do is just say hi a lot of times. And this is harder than it sounds. I'm a recruiter, so I'm used to reaching out, shaking hands, calling people, talking to people all the time. I get my energy from people. If you're in a role or your personality, intrinsically, you're not that person, work on it a little bit and get with someone who is good at meeting people, who enjoys that, and let them do some of that work for you. But if you get good at just saying hello and meeting people, that makes a difference. I know this sounds pretty simple, but it does make a difference because it becomes down to, it's all about relationships.